Stalker, the 2007 survival horror FPS where you don't have any superpowers, super weapons, or any cool shit. You're just Dave from accounting dropped into the Chernobyl exclusion zone with a gun and a dream. Filled to the brim with Slav jank, bulletproof bandits, and New York City crackheads, as a longtime fan of the series, I played almost every iteration of Stalker there is, and multiple times through. It's to the point where if you put more depressing Slavic shooter slop in front of me, I'll be eating that shit up in no time. Although that's kind of a lie, I haven't touched much of the new one, but more of that in a second. With the release of Stalker 2, there's been a new interest in this lovable and depressing Lovecraftian hellscape we call the Zone, which is essentially just the Eastern European version of LA. I mean, you got hobos, crackheads, and gun violence galore. The only difference is that living in the zone is free.
It's free real estate.
Now, that means more people are coming in and experiencing this world for the first time. And for that, I'm very grateful to Stalker 2. But frankly, the new game just hasn't grabbed me in the same way the old ones did. Now, that's not a knock against GSC Game World. It's obvious from the get-go that a lot of love and hard work went into the new title, and I think they did a great job, especially considering the difficult circumstances they've been under during development. But in spite of all that, I don't know what it is. The new game just hasn't activated the neurons in the same way for me. So, I'm going to use the new interest in Stalker as an excuse to play through some of my favorite titles of all times again, and yap about it to strangers on the internet, since I have nothing better to do with my time. So, if you like game plot summaries disguised as half-baked video essays with mixed in brain rot, then welcome, this video is for you. So after deleting all my old saves, selecting the difficulty, and getting started, we're treated with this intro cutscene. Got this dude driving a truck full of a bunch of bodies out of the zone. To veterans of the series, this makes perfect sense as to why our protagonist, simply known as the Marked One, is in this truck with all these dead bodies. But in case this video is somehow someone's first time interacting with the series, I won't spoil it. I mean, this game's old enough to get his driver's license. If you haven't played it yet, what are you doing? You can pick up the entire trilogy for like $10 on Steam. Please go play this masterpiece. But getting back on track, as the truck is driving, God himself decides to blow up the truck with a lightning bolt, cutting our journey out of the zone short. Eventually, another stalker comes around to scavenge what he can from the dead bodies. Now, the name Stalker isn't just a word, it's an acronym, standing for Scavengers, Trespassers, Adventurers, Loners, Killers, Explorers, and Robbers. It's a term borrowed from real life to describe those who go to Ukraine and illegally explore the Chernobyl exclusion zone. It also shows up in other pieces of media, such as the 1979 movie of the same name, the book Roadside Picnic, and the Metro franchise. The former two are considered part of the Stalker Holy Trinity, and the latter is long considered the sister series to Stalker. I'm a fake fan. I need to go check out the movie and the book, but I just haven't yet because, well, I'm lazy and I have trouble staying focused on one thing. Now, after finding us alive, our unnamed savior brings our comatose body to the local trader named Sidorovich, or as I like to call him, the Chicken Man. So, after looking us over and grabbing our PDA, we see a cryptic message simply telling us to kill the Strelok. Which, at first, you might be like, what the fuck is a Strelok? But we soon find out that's another stalker famous in the zone. As Sidorovich is planning on selling the PDA, our player character finally comes to and grabs it back. So now that we're awake, the fat-ass Keebler elf in front of us gives us a brief rundown of what's going to happen. In return for saving us, we're going to save some dude who got captured by bandits and has a USB drive with important information on it. Coming out of the random bunker this man lives in, you as the player take your first official steps in the zone. Around you is the Rookie Village, which as the name suggests is where newly ordained stalkers come to mingle, rest, and find work before venturing into the deeper and more hostile parts of the zone. Talking to Wolf, another friendly stalker in the village, he tells us some more information about the poor idiot that got captured, and us being the video game protagonist that we are, we have to go save him. So after giving us a knife, a pea shooter, some ammo, and some binoculars, he sends us on our way to meet up with his men, waiting to ambush the bandit camp. On the way, I'm reminded of one of the reasons why I fell in love with this game in the first place, the graphics. Up on the road, you're treated to this view of the area painted in a color palette of muted browns, greens, grays, and yellows that make up this game. The environment is desolate yet peaceful in a strange way, and there's this haze over it that gives it this ketamine fever dream-like quality that reminds me a lot of the first Dark Souls. It's a place where if you wanted to hide from the world, I think this would be it. After a short jaunt, we meet with some of Wolf's men and get ready to assault the compound. Now, you have the option to either go in alone and try to John Wick everyone in there, or you can have the other guys join you as backup. I chose the latter option because I don't have the time to sit here all day getting domed by the bandits. Call me a bitch if you want, but I've grown up my days of being a video game elitist and getting mad at shit. Now, this encounter with the bandits will remind you that off the bat, that in Stalker, you are not him. I mentioned earlier that you're just Dave from accounting with a gun, and I meant that. You aren't some mutant with superpowers, you aren't a 8-foot Giga Chad in power armor, you're just some schmuck with a gun, some first aid kits, and some nasty ass canned food. One wrong step, you're dead. Catch a shotgun blast to the face, you're dead. Or step into a mutant's territory unprepared, you're dead. It really adds to the sense that you're just some speck or even microbe in this larger living organism called the Zone, and that with or without you completing your mission, life just goes on. But after sending in the cavalry and doming the bandits, and maybe some of our friends, excuse me,
Betrayal.
we release the captured stalker Nimble from captivity. After freeing Nimble, he gives us a USB stick and we take our spoils of war back to the rookie village. Now, as I'm coming back, you may notice the NPCs guarding the entrance point their guns in my face and stare into my soul as I get close with my gun out. This is because, just like in real life, people don't really care for you sticking a gun in their face. To solve this though, you can just pull out a bolt and everyone relaxes. Your character has like infinite of these by this way. I don't know where he keeps them or if he just Dr. Manhattans them out of midair, but I digress. We get back to Serdurovich's hobbit hole and return his USB. From there he starts yapping about some documents about the Zone that some nerds found up north that we need to go find and bring to the bar in another area called Rostock. But before we do that, we have to get past the train pass to the north and into the garbage. Now, there's two ways to get to the garbage from the cordon. Firstly is to head through this tunnel to the west where this sketchy ass electrical anomaly is that will delete you from existence if you make one wrong step. I'll talk a bit more about anomalies and where they come from later. Or you could try to go under the bridge where a bunch of soldiers will try to extort you in order to pass, or otherwise they'll try to kill you, just like the IRS. Faced with this choice, I do what any responsible person should do and send these agents of the Antichrist back to hell, where they belong. I don't care who you send, I'm not paying my taxes. So, after finishing up clearing out the area, I loot the bodies, get a cool pistol and an AK, and move on with my day, and we make it to the second stage of our journey, the garbage. Hey, welcome to the end of the video. I appreciate you making this far, if you're listening to this right now. I know this is my first time having to go at something like this. Appreciate you for sticking through the bit of the rough parts. Originally, I was planning on trying to shove the entirety of Shadow of Chernobyl into one video, but I figured it's better for me to break it up and kind of improve on each video I make on it going forward. So if there's things that you really liked about this video or you hated about this video, please let me know. So I do generally want to get better and improve. And since I know this one is a bit rough around the edges, there's some weird jump cuts, there's some weird parts where like the dialogue doesn't flow because they like cut it out. And things like that where I was supposed to like talk about anomalies and I didn't yet because I was originally planning on making this one large video. But yeah, if you're listening to this, thanks again. If you got any feedback, please let me know. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Peace.